Bueno, estoy muy emocionado de entrevistarte, soy muy fan de la serie desde pequeño. La primera pregunta es si en 1993, cuando empezó Frasier, el personaje ya estaba cambiando de universo respecto a Cheers, si eso es un sello de garantía de que ahora, cambiando otra vez de ciudad y de personajes, esta serie iba a funcionar.
First off, thank you very much. It occurred to us, the reason we went to Seattle in the first in manifestation of this show was because we wanted to get as far away from Boston as we possibly could. So that was, I think in terms of, I guess maybe Los Angeles would be a little farther away, but we didn't think the show would be funny in Los Angeles. So we took him to the other coast, gave him a whole backstory that was different than what we'd thought. My father had been dead in the show Cheers. We covered it by having, when Sam Malone visited the Frasier set several years later, he said, "You told me your dad was dead." I said, "Well, I was just mad at him." So, and they gave us a whole new life. But after we discovered that we weren't going to be reuniting the entire Legacy cast from the previous show, I had a dream that said, Frasier should go back to Boston, where he has a life that is unfinished. So that there is a new world. But it's a world that we're familiar with. We know that Frasier was there at one point, but his understanding about Boston is different now than it was before. Mm-hmm. He feels like he has unfinished business, and it means that we have a lot of potential for the story.
En relación a esto, ¿qué es lo más difícil de crear una serie en 2023 manteniendo la esencia de una serie de hace 2 o 3 décadas?
Well, that's a good question. The most difficult part about sort of revisiting Frasier was just making sure we had the same kind of quality, was to make sure that the jokes were good, honestly, and that the comedy was motivated by something you could believe was possible, because we never wanted to make. Frasier was a jokey show, but we always, it had to be rooted in character and the situation, specifically to the people that were to the characters. Finding writing that was as good was a challenge, but we met it. Mm-hmm. We got there. The characters are just fine. We went through a whole bunch of incarnations of different rewrites and writings and then rewriting, and finally, I said to the new guys, I said, "You gotta cut those jokes out. We don't do those on Frasier." And so they warmed to it. They got there, and then. But it's not much different than what the original Frasier was, honestly. I mean, it has the same kind of principles, caveats, places we won't visit. We never did. We never mentioned anything below the waist. That has remained true.
¿Por qué ha costado tanto que volviera? Recuerdo que el anuncio del regreso de Frasier fue hace tiempo y hasta este año no ha llegado.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I know that I'm trying to remember when I guess they announced that they had ordered a script, and then that's what took a little longer. It was just that they announced, I guess, that we were in development, but that did take another year and a half. So.
En este tiempo hemos estado viendo reboots y regresos de series de comedia que no han funcionado. ¿Daba miedo que se pudiera repetir la situación?
Not afraid. Just we made sure that we weren't going to have that happen to us. I mean, it's like we prepared. So I think one of the good things we did do was not try to make it the old show. It was definitely a new show, and that's I think was the best decision we made, was to actually really surround him with different people and give him a different narrative and a different life, and made so that the character we recognized was in a different world.
No se llegó a convencer a los actores que interpretaban a Niles y a Daphne para este regreso. ¿Es posible que los podamos ver en una hipotética segunda temporada?
Yeah, maybe. No, it's you never know. Their son is on the show. The character of David is a member of the cast, and of course, if they're good parents, they'll probably be concerned about how he's doing at school. So maybe it'll depend on the actors, of course, if they're interested in coming back and doing a show. It would never be more than a show. It would just be maybe a one-off, an appearance.
Y a Ross, que era de mis personajes favoritos, verla como personaje fijo.
Yeah, it's possible she may come back. Yeah.
¿Qué ocurrió con Eddie? Sí que hemos visto que Martin murió, pero Eddie entendemos que también, pero...
Eddie's historia. Muerto.
Bueno, eso que si has participado en el proceso de casting, porque, por ejemplo, veo a David y veo perfectamente a Niles, entiendo que es su hijo.
Yes, we were all involved in the casting, of course. We wanted to find a guy that looked enough like me to believe he was my son. So in Jack, we found him. In Andrews, we found... I wanted to make sure we had a combination of Niles and Daphne, so that I think he actually resembles their kid. I think he could be their kid. His behavior is a bit more like Niles, but we're going to explore the idea that he's the child of both those parents.
Antes hablábamos del humor. Creo que Frasier es una serie que ha envejecido muy bien la anterior etapa, que no hay chistes ofensivos y el humor sigue funcionando. ¿Hay algo que cambiarías a día de hoy?
No, Frasier was a good show. It was a great show. Great dynamic between the characters, great stories, great writing. There were we had a couple of rough seasons where the people running the show, the showrunners, executive producers, changed hands. So the style of the show changed a little bit. They were more ambitious. We did an episode sort of loosely based on Sliding Doors, the movie, where Frasier is driving in a car and a woman gets in and he ends up getting arrested, and then a different woman gets in and something else happens. That was sort of the brainchild of one of the newer writers, and I actually thought it was a successful thing. It threw some people off a little bit. Some of the critics, went like, well, what's happening to Frasier? Well, it's natural. 11 years, things do change, and I'm sure we'll go through certain growing pains and other adjustments with the new show. It's my hope that we will do many more episodes. I just remembered something. One episode, the one where we stabbed the seal and had it wrapped in a lady's nightgown, a peignoir, that was panned. Somebody was really angry about it. I don't really know why, but it is the only show that is based upon something that actually happened. One of our writers had a seal wash up outside their beach house, and the authorities would not come and get it. They told him to punch holes in the seal's carcass and tow it out to the water, which is what we did in the show. So, anyway, that's...
Bueno, quedan 30 segundos. Te he dicho al principio que era muy fan. He traído un Funko tuyo y quería saber si me lo podías firmar.
Sure, I'd be glad to.